Okay, so I'm going to tell you the story about how I met my first wife. I was 15 years old, and being in a small town, we play games on the phone. And I know y'all probably in the bigger cities didn't do anything like that. Y'all probably have more things to do. But me and a friend of mine, we would prank call people on the phone and act like we knew them. And we would call, you can hear the other person laughing in the background, and we just would talk until it got too funny, and then we would hang up and be laughing, on a three-way call. And so I ended up prank calling what ended up being my wife, my first wife. And the funny thing is that she acted like she knew me as much as I was pretending to act like I knew who she was, and the conversation just kept going on and on and on, and end up calling each other the next day. Call her, I remember the number, call her, she got my number, called me back, and it became more than a prank. It became, a friendship. And so I didn't actually get to meet her until that next summer, almost a year later. She was, her mom was strict, no boys in the house. And so she was a good kid, and she, wouldn't violate her mom's rules and things like that until she had a cousin come and spend the summer with her. Her cousin was the type that didn't follow rules. So thank God for the cousin. She would, cousin asked me to invite some boys over, asked us to come over. And so I was like, yeah, I came over and brought a friend with me, and she did not like my friends. It took me to about the third guy, before she liked him. So I'd come over one day and that didn't work. He ain't the right one. Get rid of him. Send him home. And we'd come over a day or two later. And this is like during the summertime. Finally, I got the right guy. And so we got to stay and hang out and really get to know each other. And it was funny because him and her were messing around, and her mom had a waterbed, and they end up breaking the waterbed. End up breaking the waterbed, so we already knew that was a trouble right there. There was a problem right there. But her mom ended up coming home. We ended up staying too long. Mom came home from work, busted us. We could see her pull up in the driveway. They had this big, wide open window in their living room. And so you could see right through the house when you pull up. And so we took off running. I'm yelling at my friend, come on, man, our mom is here. He runs past me, and he's out in the backyard. I come out there, there's a fence out there. So, the fence has the four connections. He's trying to climb over the back fence, and he's struggling. I climb on the side fence, jump over the back fence, and I'm in the alley, and I leave him on the fence. And, after we got out of that alley, we laughed about that. But that's how I met my first wife, and man, I thought she looked great. She was very, very developed for her age, but I thought she looked great. And so that how our relationship went was we would get together, her mom would find out, and we wouldn't talk to each other for 6 months, a year, sometimes even longer. And then she'd end up calling me. Usually she'd call, and we'd get back together and be like, nothing ever happened, or the same old feelings would come back, and we'd be at it again until her mom busted us. She would ride her bike to my house, or I'd ride my bike over there, and we'd meet up at the park or whatever happens until her mom finds out about it, and then it's over again. One time we got together in high school, and she had a boyfriend, or a friend, a guy friend. They said it was her boyfriend, but she ended up breaking up with him when me and her got back together. And I do the same for her whenever she called. Whoever I was with, it was over. So that went on until finally her mom ended up moving her to Seattle, Washington. And I didn't see her again for years until she come back to visit. They come back and visit one summer. By then I was driving, and I drive by, and I seen them outside at this Dairy Queen outside waiting to get some ice cream. And so I park and I walk up over there and strike up a conversation. Same thing. It's just like same old feelings. So now we're calling each other long distance and trying to figure out if I'm moving out there or how we're going to do this. I had a job. at an insurance company that they had long distance call. So I could call her while I was at work and I wouldn't have to pay the bill. So I called every day. Every day on my lunch break or one of my breaks, I called every day. And I ended up losing that job and lost her phone number. And it was over after that. But, after I went through some hard times and started going to church and praying about having a wife, I get a letter, I get a card in the mail just out of the blue. And I'm trying to figure out who this is. It's her first name, but it's not her last name. I'm like, who is this? So I send the card back with my phone number and ask her to call. And sure enough, it was her. She had got married and changed her last name. And that was my sign. I asked God for a sign, and that was my sign, that card in the mail, that this was the one. As soon as I talked to her, and this is, I'm 30 years old at this point. We hadn't talked in 7-8 years. Same old feelings come back. Everything is just like it was when we was kids. And I told her if she moves home, I'm going to marry her. And 3 months after she moved home, we got married. And happily ever after. Now the moral to that story is God has already put your soulmate or the person that he's created for you in your life. It's up to you two to find each other and to make it work. So that's my story for today.